everybody, it's time for another J9's Patio Chat Check-In. This is going to be number 363, and it is being pre-recorded the night before. And what better way to spend a Friday night than with a fellow Cape Bretoner, Jill McPherson. So Jill, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
You are my first of the 4-part series that everybody's been hearing about. So you and I spoke briefly before I press record, just told you a little bit about what I wanted to talk about. It's been almost a year since we didn't actually, at this time last year, we didn't actually have any individuals in Nova Scotia yet that had tested positive for COVID. It was March 15th was the first. So this day, a year ago, if we were thinking about tomorrow, March 13th, I was at work and I was told to bring my laptop home. The very next day, restaurants started to close. People were self-isolating when they traveled. Neptune Theatre closed all its performances. I remember that because I'm here in Halifax. So I know, you in February were hoping to open the first cidery in Sydney. And unfortunately, you didn't get to open in February, but I know you were able to do some things. And then, COVID happened, and then you had to do a lot of different things. So you were opening the first cidery in Sydney, and you did it during COVID-19. So if you think back to a year ago, what were you thinking then? And what, I guess, where we are now, is this where you thought we'd be?
I think that's a great question. So, as you may know from some of our conversations, the Cider House was a long time coming, had been working on it for a few years, and then had finished our renovations in January of 2020, and then we're starting to brew in February. So a production cycle of cider takes about 2 months. So we started that in February, and then the pandemic hit right before we had our first batch complete.
Love you.
But it was one of those situations where if you don't laugh, you cry. So we just decided we would pivot, make the most of it, kept brewing, packaging, and then things started to ease up a little bit in June, which was great. And although a number of our plans changed, where we didn't have a tasting room for people to sit in, we just decided to open our production door, which is a garage door to all of our tanks. Yes. And then people would just come in and buy cider to go. So it ended up being very much a phased approach, where initially we thought there would be cruise ships in, we would have a tasting room, we ended up just focusing on production, perfecting our recipes, and just doing what we could with what was possible at the time. And I think in retrospect, it was really helpful because it enabled us to take our time and make mistakes and learn, where I think if we did everything at once, we would have been overwhelmed.
Yes. Well, you actually, perfect segue to my second question, actually. So I know you haven't really been watching the patio chats, but one of the things I do there is really try to focus on positives. So clearly COVID-19 has been challenging. We all know that. But I think there have also been some real silver linings because of COVID. And you would know one of mine, and I am actually going to just take this chance to show people my Island Folk sweatshirt. So that's the only swag I have so far. But I have been able to spend a lot of time in Cape Breton because of COVID-19. So as you know, I'm from Cape Breton, I'm from home, and I love to support local. You also know that. So I was able to visit your cidery. I was able to be with my family because I was able to work from home in Cape Breton. So I would say for me, a silver lining of COVID-19 was spending more time with my family than I have in a long time. So I think you already alluded to some silver linings, but are there other silver linings that you can think about that may have happened because of COVID-19?
Yeah, I think the silver lining I mentioned was specific to our business. But then when I think of maybe more general silver linings that still apply to us, I think about the local food movement. And I think how much that support has grown because of COVID. I think I was chatting with a friend who's a food producer not that long ago, and they had mentioned, COVID with all of its challenges has done more to shine a light on the importance of local food and supporting farmers and food producers than any initiative in the last number of years. And I thought that's so interesting. So I
Yes.
think, yes, despite all the challenges, I think that's a great silver lining. And I think too, it just brought a lot of awareness about how important community is and how important it is to support one another and how fragile our global economic systems are, So like being able to really focus on what's important, support your community, appreciate friends and family. I think those are probably the biggest silver linings that I took away.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, I'm so glad that I was able to be there in the beginning. I remember you did, I don't know if you remember this, but the first time I tried your cider, you did a delivery to me in Sydney River. And
I remember.
Yes, and that's when my brother Patrick was introduced as well. And I know he's been to your place a few times. My dear friend Michelle, I know, loves to be there. And of course, our common friend Scott Thomas, I feel like he might have his own special chair there.
He does.
Okay, I kind of had a feeling he might. And then Corey White, like I just think you and I have a lot of common friends. And I was really excited to be able to check out your tap room that you were now able to open. And I look forward to the next time I'm home to have more cider. And I know, how many ciders now do you have, Jill, in total that you have on?
So currently available, we have 8 ciders, but we've probably made about 15 different ciders since
Okay.
we first started brewing in February. So we're really proud of that because we use all Nova Scotia apples and other ingredients from Nova Scotia and Cape Breton more specifically. So that's something that's really important to us to be able to support food producers and farmers. And we're able to make all of these different ciders with ingredients that are available right here at home.
And that is awesome. And I know this sweatshirt was made at Stanfield's. So although
Right.
not Breton, it is in Nova Scotia. So you were able to keep that. So
Yeah.
that's great. So just one final question. COVID-19, like we said, there's been some challenges, there's been silver linings. I think there's a lot of COVID fatigue right now, but I also think there's a lot of hope because the vaccines are here, people are starting to get them. You actually hear stories of people getting them. It's exciting. So if you think about the year, like going forward now, what do you think? I guess I'm just wondering, maybe words of wisdom you have for people, or kind of final thoughts of what you think might be what might lie ahead for us as we continue. Because I think we're not quite at that finish line yet. What do you
No,
think's coming up for us?
I think that's such a good question. I think this wouldn't be words of advice or wisdom, but more of a hope, I guess. And my hope is just that the lessons that we've learned over the last year in terms of supporting local and how important your community is and having connection, that once things go back to quote unquote normal, that we don't forget that. So
Yeah.
I think that's just something that I've been thinking about over the last few weeks, as there is this renewed hope that we're going to be vaccinated and things will hopefully go back to normal. But yes, I just think there are a few important lessons that we learned, and I just hope that we don't forget those.
Yes, I echo that completely. And it's part of why I'm going to continue my patio chats, checking in
Yeah.
with people. So thank you, Jill, so much. You are like such a big part of this because you're going to be the beginning of the series. And I did tell you one guest, but I didn't tell you the others. So you don't know how I end my patio chats, but I will do that now. And then so just want to make sure before I wrap us up that you didn't have anything final you wanted to add.
I think you did a great job and asked wonderful questions. I don't have anything else to add, just that I'm very grateful for being included and I can't wait to watch the rest of your series.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, you'll see it soon. So as of tomorrow, March 13th, 2021, people will be watching the series and you're going to start us off. So to all my patio chat fans, take good care of yourselves, take good care of others. See you next time. Bye.